I'm Sarah Hayden, and this is Conversations with the Mayor. I'm here with Mayor Donna Holliday. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time again to come and speak to me about what's happening in Newburyport.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Sarah. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, we're going to try to be regular. I know this is 2 times in a row now. I think we had a little skip, so we're going to try to keep going and keep the information flowing to the citizens. And what's really exciting is this today. There's I know things are coming up kind of right away, and hopefully we'll have all this information out. There's a lot of exciting things happening in the city. Fun summer things, and it's nice to move a little bit away from the budget right now. We can circle back, but let's talk about some of the fun things that are coming up.
Oh, sure. We have a tall ship coming into the city tomorrow. We expected it to arrive around 3 o'clock, and I'm very excited that I'll be with our wonderful Harbor Master Paul Hogg out on his Harbor Master boat escorting the tall ship in.
Oh,
so
lucky
I'm
you.
looking forward to that. And then there's a special reception for officials and dignitaries tomorrow night, and then a whole series of events till it leaves on Monday. The Galleon, it's a first tall ship female captain, which is I think is also very exciting. So please come down, enjoy the event. It's going to be crowded. Walk.
Yeah.
Take the summer shuttle, which is another important thing that will be kicking off on Friday. We started it last summer, but I think our marketing of it was late. But this is a great opportunity for people to come by train to the city, pick up the shuttle, and it will take you downtown, to the tannery, to the docks, and out to Plum Island.
Fantastic.
So you can come in by the train, pick up the shuttle, and if you have a Charlie card, it's free. If you don't, you pay. I think kids are free under a certain age, and all the information's on our Facebook page, which is for NBPT Summer Shuttle.
That's excellent. We'll put it up on the channel as well.
Yeah, I'll get you some more information about that. But it's a wonderful way, and I think it's great for the kids too.
Yeah.
If they can get downtown, then they can get out to Plum Island for the summer. Really looking forward to this taking off this year, and so we're having a big launch and ribbon cutting on Friday morning with music and picking up different people along the route. And
oh, that's excellent. Wait, that's when? This Friday?
This Friday at 8:30. We'll start at the library at the Harris Street lot, so that's another place you can pick up the shuttle too. You also can, if you're walking along the road and it goes by, you can flag it and wave it down, and it will pick you up. So we're trying to make it easier for people not to have to use their cars this summer, which is very exciting. And then on June 4th, which is another long-awaited event in the city, is that we bring back the in-street fountain and the splash pad. Yay. So this was a very complex project to bring back. I'm very glad we were able to receive a large chunk of change from a grant from the state to help us do this, and my thanks to all of the businesses around in-street who put up with 10 months of construction. Always difficult, we know that, but we promised we'd get this done before the real season kicked off, and the fence came down last week to cheers and tears, and so very excited about that too. One thing that I'm going to ask the entire community is please keep your children from climbing on this structure. It's not. There's a jungle gym a couple feet away.
Yep.
This is a fountain that costs a fortune to bring back, and we will not be running it until the ribbon cutting on June 4th. And then I think having the fountain working will keep people off of it, but it is not a place where children should be climbing.
I was down there yesterday because I stopped in to see Esther and see about what we could do to help promote the event, and there were kids on it. So she opened the door and,
Get off of that!
Yes, get off of that. Yes, the watchdog down there. But yeah, I mean,
we can't. We've spent a fortune to bring this back, and previously when the fountain had fallen apart, we had broken lights. We had, there's a lot of destruction, and we worked too hard to take care and bring back things. I think one of the advantages is once we cut the turrets down, so they weren't these places for gangs and kids to hide, and and opened it up and better lighting. It's really made a difference, and there's cameras everywhere. So,
Well, no, I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's a liability. I mean, you can get hurt.
yes.
You know, parents shouldn't be letting the kids even, jumping on the rocks or anything. I mean, it's going to be a splash pad for them to be, on the ground. Yeah. Yeah, it actually really is beautiful. And we'll have
once you see with the lights, and it is absolutely magnificent.
Oh,
I'm
that's
really
wonderful.
excited about that.
Yeah, well, we'll be down there with a camera taking some shots of use of the fountain. We'll put something on the channel. So families know. We have put it on the channel as well, just to let people know it is a celebration. It's free. It's a family event. There's stuff happening, and
all
vendors,
over.
and
music, and dance, and food, and face painting, and all of those things. It's going to be wonderful. So my thanks to the business partners from the community who united to help bring this back and raise some money, and also to Ann Ormond and especially Lois Honegger, who really did a nice job and putting this festival together, and especially to our assistant engineer Diane Gannon, who did a great job of staying on top of the project and keeping all of the businesses up to date on what was happening during construction.
I don't think I have met her. I had just mentioned to David that we need to update the city web, the city page that we have, because I think the files aren't up to date with people's names, so I got to get on that.
Yeah.
And I'll check with that. But perhaps we can do some more maybe mini interviews of the different directors and different people that work at City Hall. I think that would be great, because it's helpful for people to know who does some of the work that we enjoy in the city, and I think it's nice to have people recognize.
Absolutely,
people, so
I feel the same way. Yeah, people work very hard. Yeah.
I know it's a lot of times it's just not recognized how much work and effort goes into some of the projects, and just how complicated things can be. I think Newburyport's beautiful. It's absolutely it is so pretty, and we sort of take it for granted. I did a little. I went out to the middle of the country and then to California. And of course, I was in Palo Alto, which is beautiful. And it's like, wow, these two coast places are very pretty. But, some places in the middle of the country, just, there's not the care or the money to take care of things the way that they're taken care of here. And I think
well, we still have more to do, but we certainly, have made, I think, a lot of strides in the last 7 years.
Yeah, no, it's really.
And I'm grateful to the support that I receive from the council. Oftentimes they are the ones who have to, sort of appropriate the funding, or the gaps in funding when bids come in, and they have been very, very supportive. I mean, this happened recently when the bids came in for Phase 1, which is the major phase of the Fuller Field, which is the last field project. I mean, we have a all-star track team, and nowhere for them to compete. So the City Council, we went through every line item in closing out this year budget and cobbled together the money we needed to make up the gap, and the City Council supported that, and I'm very grateful, so that we can sign the contract in early June, so we don't, otherwise we would lose a whole season.
Yeah.
And you can't when it comes to sports. I mean, as it is, our baseball field is sitting one season, it has to, and then we'll be ready to launch next year, but we've worked really, really hard to take care of things that have just let to deteriorate and fail, and find funds through grants and fundraisers, and bringing groups together, and the CPC to really make a difference. And I think we're now up to about $150 million in capital projects in the city.
Wow.
And only the ones that people voted on. Debt exclusion, the schools and the senior center, and when we move some of the surplus from the schools over to the stadium project, those are the ones that the taxpayers are paying extra for the debt exclusion, because we voted 76% for the schools and 58% for the senior community center. And everyone loves the senior community center.
It is actually beautiful. Yes, I too love it.
Why couldn't we do the school committee meetings there?
I think that would be a fabulous idea. I think it would not be difficult. It's a thought. It's very pretty.
I know. 118 is just.
I know. It's a very hard room to make pretty because of the angle. Even if you add more cameras, it's still funny angles. It's very close.
The only thing pretty about that room is when the students' artwork is up.
Yeah.
And thank you, students. You do a great job, and that's the only thing that makes the room pretty.
Yeah.
So anyway, we could talk about that.
I wanted to back up about a question I had about the shuttle.
Uh-huh.
So it's not just for people outside the community coming in. If I'm
no,
down
no.
at the library and I want to jump in the seat, maybe we can have our interns ride the shuttle and they can take a camera and see.
Oh, that would be great. Just to add one more piece to it, I would love that.
And see how it is. Yeah, that would be good, because then they can see actually how it works. One can we can set it up so maybe one's waiting on the street or something.
And flags it down. And
yeah, that would be great. Yeah. So tell me again where it goes exactly.
Well, you'll pick it up at the train station. That's sort of where I would say it starts from, and it will be running regularly. I mean, you can pull up on the Facebook page. As I said, Newburyport Summer Shuttle. It will give you the schedule of times, but it will be running fairly regular Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, except for holidays like July 4th, that because of the contracts with the drivers this is a bus from the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority. So, and then from there it heads downtown. It will, and again, you can just flag it, but the library will stop at Harris Street, it will stop at the Tannery, and then, head out to Plum Island and circle back around again, pick up people and, make the run. And I just encourage people to take advantage of getting out to Plum Island that way.
Yeah, I'll try that myself. I think that could be good. Because it is always, the parking. You don't want to deal with the parking. So now we can just kind of follow up on the budget.
Sure.
Because I did watch a couple of the school committee meetings as they're being filmed. I always like to see if people can hear and things like that.
Sure.
And it did look a little
challenging?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and I understand, we're all trying to scramble and get resources for what we love and what we do, but sometimes the resources aren't there, That's
it's
hard reality.
It's very frustrating because, I have tried so hard to put every extra dime we have into the school budget, which over the last 7 years is translated to a 30% increase. We have the new elementary school, we've closed the Brown, we're selling the Kelly, we're really, renovated Knockmullen, field projects. I pulled pension, capital, and health insurance out of the operational budget. And, we just have today, actually, the Senate, I wrote to a handful of senators today asking them, they're debating an amendment to the Senate budget, which would put a infusion of money to fund charter schools the way they should be funded. I don't think anyone I speak to, and myself included, I am a proponent of parents having options for their children. If you like the Montessori method, you like the charter school, then you should have that option. Whittier, Voc Tech, or Essex Aggie, or North Shore Tech, where they have that agricultural program, which is the one division that Newburyport students could take advantage on, or private schools. I mean, it's nice to have a full range of options for parents when it comes to education, but you can't take money out of of your public school systems and move it over to fund the charter schools. I mean, I get we have 168 students there in the charter school, but that takes $2 million off the top, almost $2 million off the top of our assessment for the public schools. And if we had an extra $1 million, we would be fine. We wouldn't be having these battles every single year. If we could have that extra $1 million every year, and they can keep $1 million even, but it's it's just really hard. We've been limping back from massive cuts during the between 2000 and 2010. There were draconian cuts during the recession, and that's when we had to reconfigure the schools, close the Kelly. It was very painful for our community to lose neighborhood schools, and really worked hard during that time to ensure that the people that were most important outside of the students were the teachers, and never asked them to take any kind of major cuts during those times in terms of their contracts. And now our teachers, and rightly so, teachers are a very, very significant in the lives of educating our children. And you need excellent teachers. And so our teachers are now in the top 12% of the state in terms of their salaries. They're above the average state average.
That's
so
great.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so we've stopped the revolving door of teachers and administrators for that matter. You know, we are very thin in terms of administration, and you know, I'd like to see, you know, more programming electives, particularly at the high school level. And I also, high priority is to get foreign language back. We used to have from, you know, kindergarten to 12th grade a model program that people came from all over the state to see. You know, and now we are offering Spanish to 8th graders. It's not a robust program at all. And then 2 languages, you know, at the high school. It's wrong in this climate. So we've got to, you know, sort of figure it out how we can make this happen. And it's just, it's really tough. And but I think, you know, it's not that we're doing something different than everyone else across the state. I was at the Mayor's Spring Conference last week, and I mean, some of the communities are in really, really bad shape. Failed overrides, closing schools, reconfiguring, laying off dozens of teachers.
Yeah. Wow, that's something.
We're not there. You know, we've been able to, you know, between, you know, 3.4% increases, 4.5. I think the average has been about 3.7% increases, which is much higher than most of the other districts, other communities are doing in terms of allocations to the schools. And I was able to give, a couple of years ago, a big influx of 8.7%, which really helped. And none of that rolls back. You know, after you do that for a year, you just keep building on that. So, you know, we keep at it. And, you know, I know that the administration has been in negotiations to finalize the teacher contract for the next 3 years since October. And it's been a very challenging process. And I just hope that we can get there. I know Amesbury just settled their teacher's contract. I'm not sure if they fully ratified, but, you know, the teachers took 0.5. They understood, you know, that if we're going to put programs back into the schools, you know, could you take less than 2.5? You know, it's, you know, that's what they're struggling to negotiate. And, you know, and then when you add steps and columns on top of that, it becomes hard in terms of covering, you know, when most of your budget is going to personnel. I mean, and as I said, you know, there's, we take care of our teachers. We have to take care of our teachers and our administrators. So important. But there also has to be, you know, sort of a more of a cooperative, you know, approach. And I certainly think that we've come a long way as a community. And, you know, to have, you know, parents getting up and screaming at you, it's like, you know, we're not closing schools. Our kids aren't dropping out. They're getting into great colleges. We're in the top 50 high schools in the state. We're bringing back, I mean, we're moving in the right direction and doing as much as we can every year. And I don't think it's helpful to have people coming into school committee meetings and screaming at you.
Well, it's very hard to, you know, give everybody what they want. I mean, most people
usually the
don't
list
have
that come in from the department heads too.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, again, keep in mind that, you know, we have a Department of Public Services that has also, you know, on the city side, they took zeros for years. And on top of that, you know, sorry, you're going to have to still ride in that old rusty dump truck that won't pass inspection, but we'll just hope nobody pulls you over. I mean, there's a point where, you know, you have to also look at what the needs are, you know, for the rest of the city, which is almost another 18,000 people. So, you know, my job is to sort of balance all of that, and it's always incredibly challenging to do so.
No, well, I feel for you, because it is hard to have to meet obligations of a contract, and honestly, you know, most people don't have that. They have to go with what their business or company has, which is maybe less, even, you know, so in order to stay. And then the rising
cost of health care and health insurance, and, you know, but on every level, you know, we've been making a lot of noise as mayors, as the Mass Municipal Association. We had Roger Hatch, who works for Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, come to the Mayors and Manager meeting and try and take the myth of Chapter 70 funding formula, you know, away. And it's just, a short-term fix in 1993.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2016.
So, I mean, I've heard this too for a long time, but is it that it's not equitable per student? Or I know a lot of public school parents, and I know the charter is considered public school as well, but let's say the district, I don't know how to differentiate, not the charter school.
But just the public schools.
The public schools, if you were going to go dollar for dollar of what they get, I mean, is it equitable, a student at charter school and a student in the other school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't think that's where the problem is. I just don't think you take, out of one bucket and stick it over here and say, deal with the fact that, because you have 168 students or so at the charter school doesn't mean that changes the number of teachers you need.
Exactly.
Or the number of supplies, or the number of laptops, or the equipment you need in your science lab or computer lab. I mean, or the number of buses you need.
Yeah, because they're just a little bit from each age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when is that going to come to some final?
Budget workshops are scheduled. I presented the budget to the city council at their last city council meeting with a brief overview and sort of highlights, and all of that is posted on the city website. If my budget message talking about some of the highlights of it's a little over 4% increase this year, in a total city budget, and also has the capital plan, 5-year capital plan on the back end, which is again basically an aspirational plan that every year we look at what we have to put towards capital needs, and then we'll lift those highest priorities out of the budget. And last year with the winter storm and covering snow and ice and Plum Island, we just didn't have much for capital, so we really had to buy. We got 2 new fire trucks this year. They were, I think, 22 years old and just falling apart, our pumpers, and we needed new equipment for the highway department. They're the ones that I think have really been waiting the longest to replace dump trucks and vehicles and backhoes and bucket trucks and all those things that they need.
So I saw Andy Egmont this morning. I stopped over there, to say hi, because Margot's birthday's Friday. Of course, she's not going to be there. And Andy said, "Oh, ask the mayor what she thinks, how her favorite department's, doing. Give a plug for Andy's department." I said, "Oh, her favorite department, okay." But I know Youth Services is doing such a fabulous job, and I've seen such an amazing growth over the years from when we, had our son Matthew, and what was available, which was zip. There was nothing. And then I had met Andy.
What do you mean? We had a summer basketball program.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. So
I'm serious. That was Youth Services.
Yeah. And then I met Andy when she came in. She had that little office that was up on, it was like a closet or something.
Upstairs at City Hall.
Yeah, and then, slowly it grew and it provided programs. But now we have just an amazing program. I mean,
she has done an incredible job of building Youth Services, and not only working with Youth Services, but her networks with the schools, with public safety, with mental health, with prevention, with other coalitions, with, she's just been a tremendous asset to our city and the work that she does. And I think one of the things that I love about Andy so much is that, no matter what's going on, she's always so positive. Yeah. She's got the best attitude.
Yeah. I think she has a good staff, too. I just have to put a plug in there for Margot.
Her staff are phenomenal.
And Lee.
Yeah, they are.
Margot is very good at getting those and being organized and just being diligent at getting all the details done. And
I mean, drive-in movie. On the Plum Island Point this year. I mean, every year it's something new or different.
No, it's great.
Family camp out at Perkins Park. I mean, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think it's
We're
great,
very fortunate.
We are. We have a lot of wonderful things in this city. And sometimes I even sort of forget. You just kind of go about your day. And it was interesting going somewhere else that I was in Oklahoma. That's very different. The people are wonderful, very kind, but just don't have the resources.
And the services,
Yep.
So if we can just figure out what to do with the Brown School and how to renovate her space to make it permanent and nicer and better and more you know, I would say more contained,
Yeah.
you know, as opposed to being all spread out in this, you know, first
Yeah.
floor of the Brown School. But we'll get there. I mean, again, have a couple projects ahead of that had to be taken care of. And then we'll, you know, really finish that feasibility study and move forward on getting an RFP out for that.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I know.
I know we really love running our programs through youth services. It's just such a benefit for the people on the other side that can utilize youth services as a way to get their programs out, and then they send out the information through youth services. I just think it's fantastic. It's really great. Well, we're out of time.
Again?
Yeah. So we will make a plan of getting together in what month is this?
June. We'll get together.
We're getting in June. Gosh, boy, time's going by fast. We have the promenade to do and the graduation to do for PortMedia, and we have some new equipment, so it's going to be fun to test that out.
Wonderful.
Yep. So thank you very much for your time.
Oh, my pleasure, Sarah.
And you'll see us out there with the camera.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for watching Conversations with the Mayor.